On RWP Reviews today, we're going to talk about batteries. So like most people, in the beginning when you start out quadcopter flying and airplane flying, you start with a little cheap battery. Usually, I did anyways. 25C at 1300 milliamp 3-cell zippy compact. I mean, it was a good battery at the time. Of course, I was running some motors that didn't really need a serious amount of C and things like that. But this was a good battery. The question is here that the C rating, how accurate is that? Probably not real accurate in reality. This might be sort of accurate for this type of battery. And you got to remember, this thing's kind of puffed here. But you got to remember, that was about a year and a half ago, maybe even longer. So then I ran around and with the Nanotechs. They were good batteries. I got these ones hot a little bit on and off, just over discharging them, you know, with those new Emax red bottom motors. I had those. Then I went to the Bonka batteries, you know, 1600 75C. This one I've actually had puffed a few times too. And then I was like, well, there's got to be better batteries out there. And so I bought some other ones. And as you can see here, like, here's a Dynegy 65C, which actually did not do too well. It's actually not a real good battery. The C ratings, this is not accurate. This is maybe burst. Maybe burst. It's probably like a 45C in reality. And I also have this dangerous battery that's a 70C. It does pretty well. I do like it. It's a pretty thick pack. It doesn't really have a nice flow plate, so they're not long. In other words, like these guys here, they have a longer plate and a thicker plate than these. These guys are just making it up by that. But anyhow, these all have kind of some C ratings that are really inaccurate. And that's the problem with batteries in reality. It's kind of hard to judge a C rating. And they claim high numbers on some claim low numbers and do quite well too. As you can see, you know, you get something huge like these, they're low C normally. And that's just the way they are. But they pack a lot of milliamps. So that takes us to something else that's totally different and totally not really talked about in this field yet that I know of. So I'm going to show you some clips and see what you think. Okay, so what you have right here is a capacitor. Now you're like saying, well, that has nothing really to do with batteries. Well, yes it does. This stores energy, just like a battery does. These store energy. So this stores energy, but this stores it in a different way. This stores it like a cup of water. Think about that. And then, like the analogy of a cup with a sponge in it, that's kind of like the battery. This stores it just as a cup. You can pour that cup out as fast as you want, or you can fill it as fast as you want, as long as you have the current, or the water in another sense, to fill that. Or it could just gradually pour it out. So you're saying, well, you're going to need a huge capacitor. You know, this is only 1,000 microfarad cap. You're going to need a huge capacitor to deliver any kind of amperage to run a quadcopter. And that is where the game changer is happening now. And the little ones are these, the 10 farad Maxwell capacitors. Now these are 2.7 also. They don't really make anything higher than that. I think they make some 2.85s. But you will need 7 of these if you're going to run 4-cell. And then you solder them up so you get the positive going to the negative and negative going to the positive in series. Like that, in a sense. And they're actually plainly marked and it's pretty nice. So I made up a 7-pack, because that's what you would need for 16.8 volts, just to give myself some headroom a little bit too. And this does work. Now, it doesn't create a ton of more punch. It's not, you know, like radically different notice. You are adding more weight to the quad, so you're obviously power to weight ratio again. You can always come back to that. But I noticed one thing on video transmitters. When you're flying along with this, it seems like the video transmitter was clearer on its visual. I mean, it didn't seem like it scratched out near as quick. It just buffered the EMF noise off the motors and things like that. The current draws were more smooth, I would say. So this may be a go-to. I'm probably going to order some bigger ones here pretty soon. These are only 10 farad. I'm looking for something that's more like a 20, maybe double the size. And they are pretty good size. Let's examine a battery here. So here's a 1300, Dynegy battery, and it's about the width of that. So you're looking at 1.5 inches, somewhere around there. And you got about, what is that, 3/8 in diameter, somewhere around there, close to 10 millimeter probably if you're in the metric world. And you just put 7 of them together, wire up some battery leads. Now I put this XT60 directly soldered to another XT60 and then attached in the middle. I know this is a failure point because if this comes unplugged or this one comes unplugged, your quad's only going to run for a few milliseconds probably of power, and that's about it. But this does work, and it's kind of just a test bay right now, and the only really way to test this is probably either with meters on a thrust stand. I'll probably send it out to Josh because he does a lot of testing on batteries, and I'll probably tell him put this with a lower C battery and see what happens, in conjunction, and then test it with a higher C battery and see if there's a significant difference in the performance. If these are helping the performance, or are they just making the power smoother for your video transmitter and things like that, and your flight control board and all that, smoothing out the power. Now that may help on multiple applications. So we'll see. And thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and happy flying.